Welcome back. So, with the news today that Corey Crawford has announced his retirement, I thought what better time to take a look back at what was an interesting career. So, he's drafted in 2003. Very, very deep draft class in 2003. He's drafted 52nd overall by the Chicago Blackhawks, proving that what the Chicago Blackhawks were able to do when they built their dynasty was not just get those top draft picks, but make smart picks in other rounds as well. Duncan Keith being an example as well. He wasn't a first rounder either. So Corey Crawford's drafted in 2003, and immediately, of course, you get that. This is going to be their goalie of the future kind of thing. But it took a long time. And it took long enough that before he finally made it, I thought, do the Hawks even want him to be that goalie of the future? Because there were opportunities that seemed to be there, and then they'd bring somebody else in, and they'd keep going. So 05-06, he makes his debut, plays 2 games, both in relief, 1 overtime loss, 878 save percentage. So the quality starts, which are right here, not a factor. He doesn't get a single game with the Blackhawks in 06-07. So we're up to 07-08. He's drafted in 2003. This is 4 years after his draft class. He finally gets 3 starts. He ends up playing 5 games in total, 1 win, 2 losses, 929 save percentage, and his quality starts, 667, which means 2 out of 3 of those starts are quality starts. And then 2008-2009, he plays 0 regular season games for the Chicago Blackhawks. He plays 1 in the playoffs in relief with an 857 save percentage in that 1 appearance. So we are up to 6 years since he was drafted. 2009-2010. He plays 1 game. It's a start. He loses it. 914 save percentage. It's considered a quality start. So we're 7 years past his draft year. He's played 8 games in the NHL. This is why I never count a goaltender out. This is why when I see people talking about right now, Askarov. Oh, Askarov, that guy's a bum. Yeah, okay. 19 years of age. And here's Crawford, drafted in 03. And he's not given the reins to run this team's goaltending until 2010. And how? Well, coming out of 2009-2010, Chicago with some cap issues, they're dumping guys off. They dump off Niemi. There's danger with them dumping off Niemi because he was the starting goaltender for that Stanley Cup run. Now, that was, of course, the Stanley Cup playoff where we see Chicago with Niemi. We see Philadelphia with 3 or 4 different guys as goaltenders. And the discussion becomes, you don't really need a great goaltender to win a Stanley Cup because Niemi wasn't seen as a fantastic goaltender. He just won some games for them. And he didn't allow more goals than the other guy, and Chicago outscored their problems. So Corey Crawford's taking the net kind of because they just couldn't keep Niemi. It seemed at the time, and I thought, so are they gonna let him be the goaltender? If there'd been a channel at that time, I would have been standing in my apartment at the time saying, look, I don't know how long Chicago's going to give him. I don't know what kind of reins they're going to give him to be the goaltender because until this stage, he'd only played 8 games. But he plays 57 in what is still officially his rookie year. He ends up 4th in Calder voting. 33-18-6 record. He's on the all-rookie team as well. 917 save percentage. Quality starts, 61.8%. That's pretty good. 61.8% is pretty darn good. So in the playoffs, of course, they play against Vancouver. They go down 3-0. Crawford's in net for the whole thing. He ends up 3-4 in 7 games. 927 save percentage and 71%. So 5 out of those 7 games, he gives them a quality start. He's not the problem, but they're out in the first round after they won the Stanley Cup the year before. So there's going to be plenty of talk of maybe Crawford's not the guy they're going to win with. So 2011-2012, 57 games, 30-17-7 record. His save percentage drops to 903, and his quality starts drop to 49.1%. So in the playoffs, he ends up going 2-4, 893 save percentage, and only 1 quality start in the 6. This is where the criticism of Crawford really amps up. The question marks of, well, is he really, if you're going to win a Stanley Cup, if they're going to win their second Stanley Cup, is Crawford really the goaltender they want? So maybe they want to look somewhere else. And that's where that conversation becomes the thing. So 2012-2013, lockout shortened season, Crawford plays 30 games, 19-5-5 record, 926 save percentage, a career high at that time, and by a lot. 67.9% of his starts are quality starts. Clearly, the year before made him kind of angry, and the year after he proves, hey, I know my numbers dropped, but I'm good. In the playoffs, he's pretty good. 16-7, they win the Stanley Cup, 932 save percentage, 82.6% quality starts. Yeah, if 82% of the starts that a goaltender gives you are considered to be of the highest quality, probably going to win a lot of those games. They win the Stanley Cup, but again, because this is an overpowering team, and because you've got Kane and Taves and Keith and future Hall of Famers dotting this lineup, there's still the conversation of, well, yeah, but he gets the Jennings Trophy, which is you're leading the league in goals against average, and he's 8th in the Vezina voting, showing the NHL thinks he's a good goaltender, but he plays for Chicago, so of course, his numbers are going to be pretty good. Ignoring the underlying statistic that I love, which is quality starts, and I'm glad this is getting more and more mainstream attention as years go by. I think quality starts, while I pick and choose a little bit with advanced stats here and there, I think quality starts do give you a really good idea of which goaltenders are playing well that year, and it gives you maybe a hidden window into which ones are playing better than what their numbers might tell you otherwise. So 2013-2014 plays 59 games, 32-26-10 record. His save percentage drops to .917. The quality starts drop to 55.4%. But in the playoffs, he's 11-8 with a .912 save percentage. The problem being his quality starts in the playoffs that year, 47.4%. So that's problematic. That less than 50% of his starts are quality starts. Now this is where people will say, well, the quality starts measure save percentage. It doesn't necessarily measure the quality of the chances against. Fine. We'll look at 2014-2015, where he gets back on his horse and figures it out. 57 games, 32-20-5 record, .924 save percentage, so almost back to where he was in 2013. 667, so 66.7% quality starts from him. He ends up 6th in Vezina voting, wins the Jennings again, and he plays in his first All-Star game. In the playoffs, he's 13-6 in 19 games, .924 save percentage, and his quality starts in the playoffs on the way to the Stanley Cup goes back up to 63.2%. So that number gets better. That's his second Stanley Cup. Of course, 09-10, he doesn't get into any action to get that cup ring. That's the Antti Niemi one. But 2 cups in 3 years. Interesting. So 2015-2016, he actually has statistically also one of his best years. He ends up 5th in Vezina voting that year. 58 games, 35-18-5 record, .924 save percentage, so that's consistent. And his quality starts 69% even. So again, his quality starts have actually come up. That's the highest number he had in any regular season throughout his career. And then in the playoffs, well, they go out in the first round in 7 games, .907 save percentage for him there, and a 57.1% on the quality start side of things. So he's not the reason they lose in that first round series, but for people who want to doubt his dominance in the cups, they can look at first round exits and use those instead. And that's generally how that works. He's a good goaltender, but is he great? And that's the argument that was had about Crawford throughout that time. 2016-2017, he actually gets back into the All-Star game. Plays 55 games, 32-18-4 record, .918 save percentage. His quality starts number drops to 52.7%. So that's the lowest number since the 2011-2012 season. And of course, that year they get swept by the Nashville Predators in the first round. And of the 4 starts, 2 of them are of the quality variety, leaving him at 50%. And there's all kinds of questions about how the Hawks had choked and what had happened. The interesting thing, of course, is if you looked at quality starts going into that series, you would say, well, Crawford took a bit of a nosedive from 69% to 52.7%. That might be a bit more problematic in the playoffs. And so 2017-2018, and this is the year where Chicago falls out of the playoffs. Blackhawks fans will tell you, part of the reason that Chicago falls out of the playoffs is the concussion for Corey Crawford. 28 games, 16-9-2 record, .929 save percentage. Best save percentage of his career at the time of the injury. And 63% quality starts. So his quality starts right up and amongst some of his best years. and the concussion knocks him out. And there's plenty of talk about whether or not he's going to be able to play. So 2018, 2019, he fights his way through it. Manages to play 39 games. And again, during that season, there was plenty of talk about, well, maybe he's going to retire. He ends up 14, 18, and 5. 908 save percentage. And his quality starts 43.6%, which is problematic. And this is where there's a lot of talk about, well, maybe now's the time for Corey Crawford to retire. Maybe he's done. Maybe the concussions have just taken it out of him and he doesn't have it anymore, which is, it happens to every player. Every player reaches a point where you can't play, and that's the reality of it, and it's okay. And at my age, I would have already been told that if I was a pro athlete, which I'm not. Anybody who's met me knows I'm not. But the reality is that coming out of that season, there was plenty of talk about you don't want to have another concussion, and you're probably better off. Crawford's probably better off not playing. The season that we didn't quite get finished, right? 2019-2020. He played 40 games, 16, 20, and 3. His save percentage goes back up to 917. The same save percentage he had in 2013, 2014. So while the win-loss record has taken a bit of a nosedive, his actual numbers are pretty good, including his quality starts, 64.1%, which is actually better than the season where he went down with the concussion. His quality starts were actually better. And so his overall numbers were very good, even though the win-loss record wasn't. The interesting thing is that kind of reversed itself when we got to the play-in round and to what happened after. 9 games, 4 wins, 5 losses, 907 save percentage, 33.3%. So 3 of the 9 starts were considered quality starts. I will say this, when he had his quality starts, he had high quality starts. Crawford was fantastic at times in both the series against Edmonton and then the series against Vegas. And there were certainly some downbeats along the way. But yeah, Crawford, I thought, played well. So he, in the offseason, did not come to an agreement to return to the Chicago Blackhawks. He was going to the New Jersey Devils, and upon arriving with the New Jersey Devils and doing his best, realized, I don't have the desire to play any further. I can't give to my teammates what I'd like to, so I would like to thank the New Jersey Devils kind of thing, and he announces his retirement today, January 9th, 2021. He retires with 488 games played, a record of 260, 162, and 53. His save percentage for his career, 918. Quality starts, 59.2%. 59.2% of the time you put him in the net, you're going to get a very good statistical number from him. And in the playoffs, 96 games played, 54 and 42 was his record, 918 save percentage, the same as the regular season, and 58.5% quality starts, almost exactly the same as what he had during the regular season. Very consistent, and yet there were many detractors along the way. I know the question would get asked, does he belong in the Hall of Fame? My answer would be no. 2 Cups, 2 Jennings. He was never top 3 in the Vezina voting, never top 4 in the Vezina voting. Closest he gets is 5th in 2015, 2016. 2 All-Star games, 4th in Calder voting. But if Chicago decides to retire his number, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.